Before we discuss even starting a new account, let's take a step back and look through our platform together. So I want everyone to pull up their Instagram app. I'm going to do it right alongside of you so I can really hit each area. And let's walk through what an audit looks like, what we should have where, and go through each section together. So I am going to start on your main profile. Let's pull up what someone will see if they are a brand new follower. The first thing that we're going to look at is going to be the name field, which is this part up here. Now, this is one of the most important parts for being searchable because this is what's going to perform the highest in SEO. A lot of people don't know that Instagram posts are now searchable. Your name is now searchable on Google, on Yahoo, on Hotmail, on Safari, on all major search engines. And so it's really, really important more now than ever to optimize. Like, it's not hashtags, it's not, using the edits app. It's really just using the right keywords every single place that we could be. So the first part that we want on the name, we don't necessarily need it to be our name and we don't need it to be our handle because our handle is already there. We don't need to repeat a ton of information. We get very limited spaces when we are in the platform and we want to make sure that we're optimizing as much as we can. So your name, here's a few things to know about it. Once you change your name, you can't change it again for 10 to 14 days. Make sure there's no typos. Make sure that it is something that you want to keep there. Another thing, if you are verified or if you're paying for the meta verification, which I do not recommend, we have seen no benefits. It has not helped creators get their accounts back. It has not boosted them in the algorithm. You get a check mark there that has zero weight with brands. It makes no difference whatsoever. I don't think that you need to be verified. And when you are verified, you lose a lot of access to be able to change and update your profile. If you want to change your profile picture, you have to go through a re-verification process. As of right now, February 2026, it is not worth the update. Now, of course, things do change. They might make it perform better to drive more incentive to have the paid for verification. We will update our community as best as we can, but as of right now, I would not stress about it so that you can get full control over what you can edit and utilize in your platform. So your name, you want this to be what people are going to be searched. For a business, we want our business name to be searched. And then basically what are people going to search to find us? PR firms and influencer collaborations. We used our three main keywords that we are trying to build on Google as our searchability. Now for a creator, we want this to be what your content pertains to. So in your name field, what would it take for someone to search in on Google to find your account? Is that screen-free activities? Is that fashion for women in their 40s? Is that travel destinations on a budget? What would someone type into Google to pull up your content? That is what we want to have in our name part. So it is not important to have your name, to have your handle. We don't want to repeat information. We want this to be something that is searchable, that people could go into Google or go into the Instagram search bar and find your account because you create that style of content. So that is in the name part. Put what your biggest keyword would be to help find you. Next, we are going to go into your bio. You want those first 3 lines to be your heavy hitters. It's going to be what your content represents. So you want to play off of your keywords and just continue to put those in there. I don't want to see cute bios, cat mom, coffee lover, wine obsessed. That does nothing unless you are sharing wine on the daily or cat updates, and that is what your content pertains to. Do not waste this space being quirky or trying to share your personality. And where you're going to do that is going to be into your content, into your stories that you should have active so new followers can get a taste for behind the scenes, and we'll dive into that strategy later on. But we want to maximize keywords. So if you're having a hard time creating your bio, please let me know. And I highly suggest that you always put your location. So in your bio, you want to put on the first line your searchable keyword or your location, and then it doesn't really matter too if it's in the line, just if it's in the bio. You want to put your keywords, you want to put your location. So I recommend putting city and state. You don't want to put just like Midwest or East Coast because that's typically not what events are going to search for. They're going to look for creators in Indianapolis or in the town specifically, maybe sometimes the state specifically. So you want to get really specific there. You want to put city, state. You don't have to, if you're in a small town, put like the actual town you're in. I would put the nearest biggest town that you're in. I would also, when you're creating organic content, tag the nearest town that you are in, the biggest town that you're in. So for me, I'm in the suburb of Indianapolis, but I will tag Indianapolis unless I'm trying to target this suburb, because it's just going to help increase your reach. And when people are traveling to the area, they typically will look up things to do or accounts in bigger city areas and metro areas. And so it just is a little tip to help your account continue to be seen. So you want to put your location in your bio, and then you want to have your email. And just straight to the point, you could put a little cute emoji, but your email there. And then that bottom one where it will click to see more, because it will show the first 3 lines. You could put something a little quirky that still pertains to your niche or your mission. You can say helping moms pack lunches in 5 minutes or less, or, you have to maximize your space there, but you could put a little punchline or your mission statement, or you maximize keywords there. I just wouldn't put your most important information, your location, your email. You want to make it just very quick and easy when these people are scouting. And also when new followers are coming to your account from a viral reel, or maybe you ended up on the explore page, they want to know very quickly where you're from, who you are, and what you can offer them. So next up, we have our links. Instagram has changed this a lot lately, where you can add multiple links, you can add pictures to it. There's a lot that goes on in this links. I recommend keeping this very, 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 very clean. If you do not have a website or a blog, then definitely get a link tree, which again, keep your links clean. This is something you should be looking at weekly. Are my links up to date? Are my discount codes up to date? Especially as you continue to work with brands and share things, you want to show that you are the professional here. Everything is always up to date. And you're also that resource for your followers where they can know that they can come to you, utilize the discount code, and really get excited about the links that you have because you keep them clean. So if you have a blog or website, then I recommend creating a link tree style page on your blog. If you don't know how to do that, we're more than happy to help. Feel free to reach out. Or go to Linktree. Linktree is a wonderful asset, especially if you're not growing a blog, if you're not worried about the ad revenue over there, and you can really utilize and add multiple links. So I would put your Linktree, and things that you would link are ambassador links, affiliate links. If you do have a blog, I would put in also, if you have other platforms, a Facebook or a TikTok, a YouTube, especially if you're trying to grow those, link those there as well. Now you are going to go down to your highlights. Highlights have been around forever. They have been around forever. And I'm sure if you have had an old account that you have content saved in there that does not reflect who you are today as a creator. So keeping your highlights up to date are so important. New followers, brands, they're going to come here and they're going to see, how are you organizing your resources? How are you organizing discount codes? Or if you're a travel creator and you just went to Denver, Colorado, is there a highlight here that we can go to and we can see all the posts? This is really how we can index our content. So we want to utilize our highlights as being a place to categorize everything, whether you share humorous reels, you share travel tips, you share mom resources. How could we organize it so when someone comes to your account and they're like, oh, wait, I'm going to Denver, or oh my gosh, I need snack ideas, and here's a whole highlight full of snack ideas. It should have your reels saved in there so they can go and watch it, and any supporting stories. So take a moment to go through your highlights, delete old highlights, clean it out, rebuild them. You can start from fresh. If you want to bounce ideas off, feel free to reach out. And then highlight covers. So we don't want to flood the highlight covers with text, because you can really just utilize the text below, which is also searchable. So just find a cute little graphic. It could be a high quality photo that you took that's relevant to what the highlight is about. Go on Pinterest. There's tons of story covers. Don't make it too busy, too crazy. Remember, this is your brand. This is your representation. So what do you want them to see when they come to your account? And then below, it's just one word for each highlight. And then next up, we're going to have your pinned post. I'm actually not going to talk too much about pinned post right now, because once we start building our content strategy and our content ideas out more, we will revisit what content to pin. But what I do want to talk about is our reel covers. So when a post goes viral, people are going to come to your account and they're going to scroll for 3 to 5 seconds. People are selfish with their time. They're selfish with their follows. They don't want to click on content if they're not really sure what it's going to be about. So when you have a post go viral, it is lead generating for your other content, usually the first 9 or the most recent 9 that is in your grid. And you want to make it as enticing and easy as possible for people to click on it. Yes, while TikTok has broken down the feed a little bit and made its way over to Instagram where aesthetic doesn't matter that much, you are still a business. You want to show up professionally. We don't want chaotic feeds. That is something that people are still looking for on Instagram, is having a little bit of aesthetic. But they also, when they come to your feed, they don't want to be overwhelmed. Is there just content and stills everywhere? There's not dedicated reel covers. If they go to your reels, there's no titles on it, so they have absolutely no idea what this content is even about. What is going to entice them to click on it? What is going to, and watch your other content, and what is going to entice them to follow you if they're just kind of stressed out and they're like, oh my gosh, there's so much at once. Yeah, they had one good reel, but there's just too much here. So instead, you do want to work on the aesthetic of your feed. Now, you don't want to overly stress about it. You don't need posed photos or things like that. In the moment when you are filming a reel, to have a few still shots, to have a few moments in the reel that maybe you're paused a second longer, so it's a nice frame that you can have that has your hook right there. We always want to make sure that our reels have titles on it that are our hook. So when you do go viral, or a brand is looking at you, or whoever is on your account, they're able to easily see what you have to offer them, and you are taking away the stress, you are taking away the unknown. They're more likely to click on it if you have a strong hook and they're like, oh, I already liked this last reel, so I'm on their page. Now let me click on this one to see more. And that's how people start doom scrolling on other people's accounts. How many times have we done that on Instagram or TikTok, that we find this and then we're like, oh my gosh, they do so much more in this category. Now we're 10 videos deep. That is why it is so important to care about the presentation of your business. And so figuring out what looks great on your feed. It doesn't have to be overly staged, but it does have to have a nice rhythm and flow. I do suggest staying to a color palette, building yourself out like you would a business. What are your branding colors? What is your fonts? When you really dive in on your branding aspect, and that is a whole other topic that we will dive in, but when you really dive in onto your branding aspects, your highlight covers match. When you're on stories, you always use purple font, and that's what you're going to be known for. So when people are just swiping through, they stop because they love your content. They see that iconic purple font, whatever it may be. It doesn't have to be overdone. It just has to be consistent. And so when you're going through, find a very consistent reel cover or a text template, whatever it could be, that you could have your hook when you're filming, which we will dive more into this next week. You take a few moments to pause so you have a nice reel cover. Prioritize that. You don't have to overdo it. Again, I can't say that enough. Just when you're filming, take a few minutes at the end before you click out of it, that your post, that you could use it as your reel cover, and that's where your hook is at. The great thing about reel covers, it doesn't have to come directly from your video. You could upload it when you're uploading the content. So you can take that, you can have your hook, and then it doesn't have to alter anything that you're doing for your reel. Make sure your reel covers, though, are relevant to your reel. A lot of people will just try to save the aesthetic of the feed, and they'll put a picture of their family and they're talking about something completely different. They're making lunch. Like, it's not relevant. It doesn't connect. You want to make sure that your content is professional, business facing, relevant, it matches, it has a nice aesthetic to it, and you have those strong hooks there that are easy to read and clean. We don't want chaos. We can still be creative. We can utilize our own style, but we want to make it very easy and fast consumption for people to consume your content.